Let's be completely honest for a second. Ask yourself right now, if a severe disaster struck your town today, I mean literally today, are you truly ready? It's a pretty heavy question, isn't it? And for most of us, if we're being real, the answer is usually a pretty hesitant no. Disasters disrupt hundreds of thousands of lives every single year. They hit out of nowhere, cutting off essential services, completely isolating communities. But hey, here is the good news. We absolutely do not have to be victims of circumstance. Let's figure out how to transform that hesitation into rock-solid confidence.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're basically embarking on a hero's journey to self-reliance. We are going to break down the absolute essentials of disaster survival, drawing directly from the most authoritative preparedness sources out there. We'll move step by step from peaceful, everyday preparation right through to navigating the chaos of a live emergency and finally, safely recovering on the other side. This whole thing is all about empowering you with practical, literally life-saving knowledge.
Okay, let's dive into this. Our survival arc today covers 6 critical phases. First, we'll create your emergency plan. Second, we'll build out your disaster kit. Third, evacuation and safe sheltering. Fourth, star navigation. Fifth, protecting pets. And finally, number 6, recovery and mitigation.
To really ground us in why this matters, let's look at this excerpt from the Federal Emergency Management Agency's Are You Ready Guide. Former FEMA Director Joe M. Albaugh states it perfectly. He says, "We know that disaster can strike at any time. We all have a personal responsibility to be ready." And you know, that is the core theme of our explainer today. The government and relief organizations, they're going to try to help, for sure. But local responders simply might not be able to reach you immediately. Your safety ultimately starts with your own personal empowerment.
That brings us to step 1, creating your emergency plan.
So this foundational work is exactly what you do during peacetime, right when everything is calm. Being prepared and knowing exactly what you're going to do drastically reduces the fear and that intense anxiety that naturally comes with disasters. The strategy really just comes down to a few surprisingly simple steps. First off, identify local hazards. Seriously, ask your local emergency management office what you're actually up against in your specific area. Next, pick 2 meeting places for your family just in case you get separated. One should be a specific spot right near your home, like, say, a particular oak tree. And the other should be completely away from your neighborhood. You also want to designate an out-of-town contact person that everyone can call to check in. Maybe Aunt Sarah finally gets to be the official family communication hub. And finally, learn your utility shutoffs for water, gas, and electricity. But a quick pro tip here, never actually test your gas shutoff valve just for fun, because only the gas company can safely turn that back on.
Once that abstract plan is in place, we transition to part 2, building your disaster kit.
And putting this together brilliantly illustrates the difference between just hoping for the best and having a tangible 3-day minimum lifeline. This is designed to keep you and your household completely self-sufficient. You want to keep your absolute essentials packed away in an airtight, easy-to-carry container. Think an unused trash can, a sturdy camping backpack, or a large duffel bag, something ready to grab and go in seconds. And don't forget to update this kit every 6 months. Mark the dates on your container so everything is fresh when you actually need it.
Now, the most crucial item inside that kit is water. The absolute golden rule of survival preparation is that you need exactly 1 gallon of water per person per day. That amount covers your drinking needs as well as basic sanitation. You'll want to store this in thoroughly washed plastic or fiberglass containers. Sturdy plastic containers like heavy-duty soft drink bottles are your best bet. Never, ever use a container that has held toxic substances, and completely avoid glass. Glass can easily shatter during an emergency, and then you're really in trouble.
But let's play devil's advocate. What happens if your stored water runs out and you have to rely on a suspicious water source? Well, you have to purify it. Let's break down these dense purification tactics into a really simple rule of 3 so it's easy to remember. Number 1, boiling. This is the safest method. Bring the water to a rigorous rolling boil for 1 full minute to kill off harmful bacteria. Number 2, chlorination. You can actually use regular, unscented household liquid bleach for this. Just add 16 drops per gallon of water, give it a good stir, and let it stand for 30 minutes. Number 3, distillation. If you've got heavy metals or radioactive fallout to worry about, you'll need to boil the water and collect the condensed vapor. That vapor becomes your clean drinking water, leaving all the dangerous impurities behind.
Okay, so disaster has officially struck. It's time to act quickly in Section 3, Evacuation and Safe Sheltering.
In these intense moments, you have to act decisively based on the specific threat right in front of you. Let's contrast the 2 main realities we're looking at here. If you're evacuating, the whole dynamic involves leaving early to avoid getting trapped on the roads. You absolutely need a full tank of gas, because stations will lose power during emergencies, and you must stick to pre-mapped routes without taking risky shortcuts. On the flip side, sheltering in place means bunkering down. If it's a long-term isolation scenario, maybe a massive winter storm, you actually need to establish a 24-hour watch within your household. You'll be taking turns monitoring the emergency radio and watching for fires, all while carefully rationing out your food supplies.
But what happens if the grid goes down completely? That brings us to Section 4, Navigating by the Stars. Imagine the evacuation didn't go as planned. Your GPS is dead, your phone has absolutely zero service, and you are totally lost. When modern technology fails us, ancient survival skills have to take over. And what's really fascinating here is a fact from Earth sky. People always ask how to find Polaris, the North Star, using the Big Dipper. But did you know the Big Dipper isn't actually a constellation at all? No way, right? It's actually an asterism. That's a recognizable pattern of stars on the sky's dome. It's really just one piece of the much larger constellation known as Ursa Major, the Great Bear.
So here is exactly how you use this asterism to find your way in the dark, step by step. First, locate the Big Dipper in the northern sky. Then, look at the two outermost stars that make up the Dipper's bowl. These are called Duba and Merak, and historically, sailors referred to them as the pointers. If you draw a mental line straight through these two stars and extend it outwards, it points directly to Polaris, the North Star. And here is a pretty surprising fact. Polaris is not the brightest star in the sky, like a lot of people tend to believe. It's actually a moderately bright, second-magnitude star. But the magic of Polaris? Unlike other stars that rise and set, Polaris appears perfectly fixed in the northern sky. Stand facing it, and you are facing true north.
All right, let's bring our focus back down to the ground for Section 5, Protecting Pets and Animals. Look, in the rush to save ourselves, we can never, ever forget the vulnerable animals that depend entirely on us for their survival. There is a harsh reality check we need to talk about when it comes to disaster response. With the strict exception of registered service animals, pets are typically not permitted in public emergency shelters. It's just a matter of strict health and safety regulations.
Because those public shelters are going to turn them away, you have got to take proactive steps so no family member gets left behind in the chaos. You need to assemble a specific disaster kit just for your pet. Think food, extra water, and all their veterinary records. Make absolutely sure their ID tags are securely fastened and completely up to date. Also, long before a disaster ever strikes, identify out-of-town, pet-friendly hotels or boarding facilities. And finally, have secure leashes and carriers ready to go by the door. Animals become incredibly frightened and super unpredictable during a crisis, so you need a safe way to transport them.
Thankfully, this storm has finally passed, bringing us to our final phase, Section 6, Recovery and Future Mitigation.
The grid is slowly coming back online, but returning to a damaged home is both physically and mentally exhausting. Caution is absolutely paramount right now. The safe re-entry protocol is highly methodical. First, walk the outside of your home carefully checking for any loose power lines or obvious structural damage. Second, smell for gas leaks immediately as you go inside. If you hear a hissing sound or smell gas, open a window, get out immediately, and call the gas company from a neighbor's house. And third, always inspect your home using a battery-powered flashlight. Never, ever use candles or torches. Why? Because the simple, seemingly harmless act of turning on a light switch or striking a match could easily produce a tiny spark that ignites a hidden post-disaster gas leak.
And remember, the ultimate goal here isn't just to recover, it's to mitigate future risks. For example, if a home was severely damaged by floods, true mitigation might mean physically elevating the entire structure above the base flood elevation during the repair process. Or if you live in high wind areas, it means taking the time to add hurricane clips to your rafters and upgrading to high wind resistant shingles. Basically, you use the aftermath of one disaster to structurally fortify your life so you're even stronger for the next unexpected event.
Which leaves us with this final, crucial thought. You understand the plan now. You know exactly what goes into that survival kit. You know how to find true north in the pitch dark and how to safely return to your home. You survived this time, but how will you actively fortify your future? The responsibility to be ready is entirely yours. So go start building that kit today. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.